On today's DNVR Broncos show, we're going to break down where Bo Nix will rank among his rookie class in 5 years from now. Will he be a superstar? Good or bad? We're going to break down the other 5 quarterbacks in this draft class as well to see where Bo Nix ranks. And we're going to look at last year's draft class as well. Plus, we're going to take a look at expectations for this Broncos team. Do they need to have a better record than last year? Do they need to have a winning record, make the playoffs, or just be better than their 5.5 win projection in Vegas? Or is it something completely else? We're diving into it starting now. We've got so much Broncos stuff to get into. This is going to be a blast of a show. But I want to start off with a question that isn't related to the Broncos after I welcome you into the DNVR Broncos show live from the Toyota Lounge, powered by your local Front Range Toyota stores here inside the DNVR bar. We've got Super Bowl 50 champ Todd Davis, Henry Chisholm, Yahir, and Landon behind the camera, and yours truly, Zach Stevens, rocking and rolling with you today. The question I want to start with is, what would your emotions be if you just lost the Super Bowl, the Stanley Cup, the NBA Finals, but you personally won the MVP of the playoffs?
I'm nice and my team sucks. I don't know.
Yeah.
If I just had more help, we could have get it done. Yeah, probably along those lines.
I mean, that's exactly literally what they're telling you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you were so good, but your team sucked so much that you weren't able to win it all. And that's what happened last night in the NHL. Just such a unique moment. And I think this might be the first time in our lives that this has ever happened. Maybe it's happened twice in hockey, but the first time in any of our lives where the loser ends up winning the MVP of their playoffs or their finals or their Super Bowl. I don't think it's ever happened. Maybe once or twice in our life before.
I think it has in hockey.
Because it's happened 6 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eric was just giving us the details.
And he said actually the last time was a former Avs player.
Yeah, former Av, which would mean the Av would have had to have played 96.
Right. So it would have been in
And
our
former
life.
97, I was born.
Yep.
So
Okay, so
definitely.
it did happen before once with little Colorado connections.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a weird dynamic though. Like, could you imagine, let's say, obviously it would never happen in Super Bowl 50, but could you imagine if Cam Newton, I mean, you can't imagine this because he didn't ball out, but if Cam Newton balled out or something and still lost, but they gave him the MVP, yet you guys won the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I don't think it should work like that. Like, the best player on the team that wins is whoever should get the MVP.
Yeah.
I don't care if you were averaging 45 points a game. If you guys didn't win, then you can't be the most valuable player.
It's also
because you weren't valuable enough.
because in football it's the Super Bowl MVP. Right. In hockey, it's basically like MVP for the entire playoffs,
Which is
a little different.
It's not even
I
just
still
a
hate
series;
it.
it's the entire playoff run.
Yeah.
I still don't like it.
Which is weird, though. I feel I don't mind having a playoff MVP, but then also have a finals MVP. And then I wouldn't mind that in the NFL if you had like a playoff MVP and then a Super Bowl MVP. And they could be the same person. They could be a different person. But I do think that, I mean, it's the finals. Whether it's Stanley Cup, whether it's NBA Finals, whether it's a Super Bowl. It's the most important game of the year. There should be an MVP specifically for that.
Yeah, I agree.
Game 7 MVP on top of it. Game 7 MVP, final MVP, playoff MVP.
Then why not just go also you have a third period MVP?
Oh, wow.
But technically, if it's just the playoffs, then technically somebody could win it and not even be in the finals.
Yeah.
Like if they were just
Technically.
balling out the first 3 rounds and their team lost in the 3rd round,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so they could technically win it just sitting at home.
Yeah.
Also,
I
my-
don't think that's happened before.
That's
My
weird.
favorite fun fact is that Val Nichushkin had more goals than Connor McDavid in the playoffs.
Yep.
And he got suspended halfway through the 2nd round.
That is That is wild.
Yeah.
Shows how good
Yeah.
Val is.
It
Shows
does
why
show.
there's an interesting decision to happen there. And there's going to be some interesting decisions that we make on this show. I'm really excited. We kind of teased this on the mailbag yesterday of that, how we were going to look at and rank quarterbacks from this year's draft class and last year's draft class and where they're going to be in 5 years from now, kind of at the end of their rookie contract. But before we get into that conversation, let's dive into what are our expectations for the Broncos, for Sean Payton, for Bo Nix this year. When I throw that very broad question out for you, when we look back at this season next February, Todd, what's going to count? What's going to be a successful season? What will the Broncos have to do for you to say that was a success?
8 wins. I don't think that's too much to ask. I think with a lot of turmoil and strife in the building, they were able to get that done last year. And I think with a new quarterback, a very successful head coach, I think it's very doable. But it also leads to the fact that they're on the rise. If they were able to do that with Bo Nix's rookie season, you would automatically expect that his sophomore season would be better. So I think that 8 wins, and 8 good wins, not like 1-point wins all the time. I think like 8 solid wins where you're winning by a touchdown or a field goal at least.
You're not getting blown out in your 9 losses.
Yeah, exactly. So just looking like a quality team, can that be an expectation?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's
yeah.
it. Because for me, success, there's a difference between expectation and success. Expectation, like, I expect like 6 wins, But I think for it to be a success,
Okay, let's look success.
yeah, for success, it's like, it's just Bo Nix is good. Like, that's all it is. Like, nothing else really matters. It just is Bo Nix good or not.
And Henry, I think there's 2 ways that I would look at this, and one of them is kind of exactly what you're saying. At the end of the season, if Bo Nix looks like the real deal, I'm saying the season's a success. Even if the Broncos win 2 games, now it probably means there's a whole lot of other issues
That'd
on
be
the team,
strange.
specifically the defense, because if Bo Nix looks good, you have to imagine the offense is capable, is average at least, or at least had enough flashes to be average. So it means the defense needs to be completely overhauled. But I think if Bo Nix is good and you're looking back at this season and saying, man, Bo Nix is the truth, you're not looking at a 2-win team realistically. You're probably looking at least an 8-win team. Maybe you could also see that with 6 or 7 wins, but I don't think how I truly view this is I don't think there's a number that I would look at. It's more just Bo Nix's numbers and the eye test mixed with the numbers. How does that look? Because we know that numbers don't necessarily always tell the truth. If numbers told the entire truth, Russell Wilson would 100% be this team's quarterback this year because he threw 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. If you look around, you could make a case that he had better numbers than Patrick Mahomes last year. And so in Sean's mind, numbers don't necessarily tell the entire story. However, I think if Bo Nix goes out and throws 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, Sean's going to be saying, oh yeah, Bo Nix is the truth, and he's going to be saying, I feel really good about my Patrick Mahomes kind of comparison and feeling just as high on Bo Nix as I did Patrick Mahomes because that'll be a hell of a rookie season. I mean, that would be the C.J. Stroud rookie season, and that's a rookie season that is so rare to come by. So that's probably how I'm going to lean on this conversation. This season is all about Bo. But you could take the other approach, and it's not necessarily one that you took, Todd, but I could see a lot of people making this argument. You got to be better than last year with the 8 wins. So it's 8 wins at a minimum, but 9 wins or better because you look from last year to this year, did the Broncos get better or worse? Just when you look at the roster.
Worse.
Yes. You would say worse. Yeah.
I think that's very fair to say
Yes.
that they got worse. Did they get better or worse by their choice, or was it circumstances that they could not control as to why they got worse?
They made all the moves to kind of shift
Yeah.
the roster the way they did.
So they volunteered to get worse. That is really bizarre. You typically don't see teams do that. No, obviously it's a little teardown to build up for the future, but I could see a fan or someone from the outside looking at the Broncos and saying, what are they doing there? They're intentionally getting worse, so I'm going to hold Sean Payton to a standard of, no, you can't be worse than what you were last year, especially because that was your best season since 2016 that you just had with this team. So you made the moves to get worse. It's not like Peyton Manning retired and like what happened between 2015 and 2016, where there's nothing you can really do about that. I mean, I guess you could have begged him to stay, but ultimately that was out of your control, that decision. You could have kept Brock Osweiler,
that would
maybe.
have been
Sure,
better
that was
quarterback.
something that was in their control. But it's every move they made, cutting Justin Simmons, cutting Russell Wilson, not re-signing Josie Jewell, not re-signing Kareem Jackson, letting Lloyd Cushenberry walk. Those were all things
Jerry
that
Jeudy.
at least some of them were 100% in their control, and they probably could have. I would imagine they could have brought Josie Jewell back if they wanted to offer him $22 million over 3 years instead of the 21 he got in Carolina. So my point is, I don't blame someone for looking and saying, no, you made the moves to get worse. So I expect you to at least have the same bar as last year and have 9 wins, have 10 wins. But I'm not going to hold them to that because they made this move and these moves to be better for the future. This is kind of a step back year, and you're seeing that in Vegas. This was a team that won 8 games last year, seemed to be, in terms of the wins and losses, seemed to be on the rise, and now Vegas has them at 5.5 wins, the 3rd lowest in the NFL.
Yeah, they definitely don't expect much from this Broncos team.
No.
But that's why I feel like my point was 8 wins, and it's primarily because I have more questions on the team than just Bo Nix. And I need Bo Nix to be good, but also, can Marvin Mims be a reliable receiver? Can Riley Moss be a starting corner in the NFL? Can Alex Forsythe be a starting center? Is Javonte back to Javonte? Is he healthy? Can our new linebacker, Burton, end up coming in here and being a good piece for us? Like, I think there's so many more questions outside of just Bo Nix, because even if Bo Nix is good, I think we have quote unquote gaps that still need to be filled amongst the team. So I think with 8 wins, it shows that, a little bit went right in other places as well, not just Bo.
Yeah. Here's a hypothetical question. All those guys you listed, what if they're all bad? Like, we're disappointed by all of them, but Bo Nix looks like the next Mahomes? Or you reverse it and Bo Nix, like, he gets benched, Stidham all year, whatever, but all those guys look like Pro Bowlers, like all 5 or 6 of them that you named. Which is better?
Probably Bo Nix.
I think so too.
Yeah, because then you can go find different guys to play those positions.
Yeah.
But we've been in a quarterback search for so long, having good players, which we've had, having a good defense, which we've had at times, and not having a quarterback. I think we all know the outcome of that.
Yeah. But
Which
what
one-
if like Alex Forsythe is the next Jason Kelsey, like Javonte Williams is the next Nick Chubb, like Riley Moss is like Josh Norman-y, sort of. I don't know. Like,
So you're talking all 5 or 6 of these guys that you mentioned
Yeah.
that are potentially guys that won't even start. You're saying all 5 or 6 of them become
They're
Pro Bowlers?
really good.
Is that what you're saying?
They're
Like
really
Pro
good,
Bowls?
yeah.
Maybe not all Pro, but Pro Bowlers?
maybe all pro, yeah.
Or Bo Nix appears to be the next Patrick Mahomes. Which one wins more games? I'm really curious what you both say. Think about that and let us know in the Toyota chat. Speaking of the Toyota chat, got to give a shout out to our friends over at Toyota, where if you want a sports car, Toyota's got that. If you want a hybrid, Toyota's got that. If you want a truck, Toyota's got that. SUV, Toyota's got that. Throw any type of car your way and Toyota has that. So if you live, well, anywhere, but specifically in Colorado, visit one of your local Front Range Toyota stores to get your next car. Or maybe it's a car for your spouse, or maybe it's a car for your kid. They've got so many new and used cars, including the 2024 Tacoma, the 2024 Land Cruiser, which just dropped, so you want to check that out. And of course, my favorite, the 4Runner. Toyota also currently offers more low and zero emission vehicles combined than any other automaker to give customers numerous choices to reduce their carbon footprint. They have 16 different hybrid vehicles to choose from, like the Tundra iForce Max hybrid truck. So if you need a new car, go check out your local Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota, the official automotive partner of the NFL and the official vehicle of DNVR.
Also, shout out to Bet365. So I've recently become a soccer bettor, not a soccer watcher, but a bettor, and I need France to win. There's a half hour left or so, and they currently have a penalty kick like right now. I'm just waiting for this, like as this little flashing arrow, he's about to kick the ball, and hopefully I'm gonna feel like I'm gonna make a bunch of money. Yeah, I yesterday at halftime we were watching like the hockey game, but halftime of the Brazil Costa Rica game, I was like, wow, plus 550 for this soccer game to be a tie, and we're already halfway there. They made the penalty. Shout out to the French.
Hey.
And yes, those are my guys out there. Yes, shout out to France. But yeah, so I took Costa Rica to tie the game, 5.5 to 1 odds. Easy. It's always a tie in soccer, which I might actually bet this tie right now.
Which makes it a miserable sport. I'm sorry, but
that's why you just
ties
bet.
happen all the time.
That's why you bet. You don't watch.
That's an American take. I'm not.
Well, yeah, we live in America,
True.
so
Yeah.
that's totally
Everybody
fair.
in America is a winner or a loser.
It's not just soccer. Like when an NFL game ties, that's the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, just ending at a tie. I think soccer could be really dope if they took away offsides. How is it my
Yeah.
fault that you are not back on defense?
So-
That makes no
Yeah.
sense.
So
Then
they're
you're
going
right,
to
yeah.
change that actually. Offside's going to be a little bit different.
Yeah, I
As long
think they
as
should.
any part of your body is on sides instead of like by like the millimeter of
They're
it.
changing
my
it by
God.
2 feet.
Those 2 feet, we
Really
would
gonna be
get 30
exciting
more
now.
goals in a
Way
year.
more goals. Because
Yeah.
they're like, oh, I wasn't ready. I wasn't on. That's your fault. You need to back up.
Yeah. Well, I love the French right now. I
Well,
love
Henry,
the Costa
I don't know.
Ricans.
Maybe you just bet the tie now.
I'm
if that's
tempted.
the
9 to
move.
1 odds.
There you go.
Certainly not taking the Poland. Some guy named Nikola Zalewski has the ball. That was another one of the games we were playing at the golf tournament where you like read the name. It's like, okay, in this case, French or Polish. It's actually a really easy game.
That would be Polish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it
Yeah.
didn't last long. Jacob Kuhlor. But yeah, okay.
French.
Bet365 is awesome. Right now, if you sign up, you can use the code DNVR365, deposit $10. Choose between a bet and get offer where you place a bet $5 or more, get $150 in bonus bets, or a first bet safety net offer where you place a bet up to $2,000. And if your qualifying bet loses, you receive a match refund in bonus bets. Must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
Yeah, the Toyota chat really enjoyed that ad read there,
Oh,
Henry.
good.
Alex said, quote, I need France to win, unquote. Those are famous last words.
That's probably a reference. I think maybe it's a reference to wars.
It for sure is.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
100%.
Because soccer-wise, I wouldn't.
You
Maybe
wouldn't
they've
know?
always... No.
Yeah. So, 5 role players on the Broncos this year that you don't expect become Pro Bowl players. Or Bo Nix is the next Mahomes. Which one has the Broncos win the most games this year?
Win the most games this year.
Yep.
That's tough. For this specific year,
Yep.
I might say they're Pro Bowl players.
Really?
But overall,
I think so.
it's better to have Bo Nix be the next Patrick Mahomes.
I think the same thing. That's where I'm at.
I disagree. If
This
you get
year.
the number 1 quarterback in the NFL this year, that is going to be
Who's he throwing the ball to?
But that's what we're saying. But the
Long term,
flip side
yes.
of that is that the guys that he's throwing it to either are just a trash, so they're dropping balls. Maybe
Yeah.
they can't get open. Like,
Still
you know what I'm
worked
saying?
for the Chiefs last year, but
Yes, but-
exactly, exactly.
But no, I mean, this year I think if you actually have like 5 more Pro Bowlers, like that, then you're the 49ers. You know, I think like the Broncos roster just isn't great. It's going to be a
would
lot
you
of
rather
fun.
be the
but it isn't great.
49ers or the Chiefs? Because I'd rather. I mean, this is exactly kind of what we're asking. Would you rather be the 49ers or the Chiefs?
But the Broncos don't have a Chris Jones, and they don't have
Yes.
like
So the Chiefs
They
have
have
Pro
a-
Bowl
they have a
players on
Pat
both
Surtain.
sides.
But the Chiefs also had
They have
the
2 lockdown corners.
Yeah, exactly.
They have 2 really
Yeah.
good linebackers. They have 2 interior D linemen. They have an outside guy.
Justin Reed at
They
safety.
have. I think they're just stacked all the way around more so than.
Broncos have 4 good offensive linemen right now. They have Pat Surtain.
But also,
They
you
have
look at
Alex
like
Singleton.
But we were just talking about the Chiefs' defense. I hate giving the Chiefs love.
I
but
know.
that was the Chiefs' defense. The Chiefs'
Yeah.
offense also has maybe the best tight end ever played a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have a running back that runs with his hair on fire.
they have a center.
a front 3 center guard
Yep.
center that is nice.
Guard center.
Wide receiver guard center, whatever.
I love that.
However you want to put it.
2 guys snapping the ball.
Yeah, you have wide receivers that are good at time.
Drop the
I think
ball.
Could be a little
yes,
trick play.
yes. But overall, they're pretty much like they have a lot of good talent.
Yeah, they definitely. The talent gets worse every year, though, and that's why we get to be so excited over and over again. But yeah, I think for this year, Broncos would be better off if they get like the 5 good players. Long term, you get Bo Nix, you'll make it work.
Any question about that? About long term, what you're taking?
Long term, I'm taking Bo Nix
The
to be the
quarterback?
next Patrick Mahomes.
Let us know in the Toyota chat what you guys think. And before we move on to the quarterback conversation, where we're going to talk about Bo Nix a lot more, I want to know, is there anything that could happen this year that would put Sean Payton on the hot seat? Year 2 of a 5-year, nearly $100 million deal.
Hot seat for this year or for next year?
Just
either,
hot seat
both,
period.
yeah.
Okay, like he could go into next year on the hot seat for sure, if like things go really badly. I mean, you look around. Broncos are supposed to get the number 2, number 3 pick, maybe even number 1 pick. If depends on where you look. If that's the case, you win 3 or 4 games. You know, he would certainly be on the hot seat next year.
I think this year he's solid. I think
Yeah.
if anything, it may be a way for him to get on the hot seat next year.
Yeah.
But I think rookie quarterback and the expectations that are out there now aren't high enough to really like underperform. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
And I guess it depends on how you view the hot seat. Because like you said, Henry, like this year, next year, to me, hot seat means you could be fired in the near future.
Yeah.
And for me, I think Sean Payton has 3 full years at the very minimum.
Yes.
So really, whatever happens this year, like it could warm up a little bit, but I don't think next year, week 1, 2025, week 1, he's going to be sitting on a hot seat, meaning he could be fired before the season's over. Because the expectations are where they are right now. Like, no one expects the Broncos to be good. And so that's why, like, we have this conversation occasionally like, oh, is it Super Bowl or bust for the Broncos? The Broncos have always been Super Bowl or bust. We have to hold them to that standard. No, that went away over this past over 8 years right now. You're crazy going into this season thinking it's Super Bowl or bust. You're going to tell me that if the Broncos come out, Bo Nix looks great, they win 9 or 10 games, they make the playoffs and lose in the first round, that this was not a successful season? Hell no, this would be such a successful season. So that means it's not Super Bowl or bust anymore. And it's unfortunate that the Broncos have come down from that Super Bowl or bust that they had for, 2 or 3 decades under Pat Bowlen. But the reality is they have come down from that. And so if you enter the season, if the Walton Penner Group enters the season with Super Bowl or bust and they go out and win 5 games and have the number 3 overall pick, then yeah, he would be on the hot seat. But I think they're crazy for having that mindset going into this season when they have torn down. We all admitted the Broncos made themselves worse this year to get better moving forward. So we're talking like 0-17 for Sean to be on the hot seat going into next year, and that's just not going to happen. Even like going 4-13, I still don't think he's on the hot seat going into week 1 of next year.
If they go 17, he's getting fired.
No.
Like you don't think so?
I don't think that's
0-17?
realistic. I don't think that's realistic.
I don't think it's realistic either.
Yeah.
Because now, even then, I don't think it's realistic, but what's your plan? Do you think you're really going to get a better coach than Sean Payton?
You have to have such horrible things happen to go 0-17. Like, you have to think back, because like the Lions team's the only team that didn't win a game, right?
Browns too.
The Browns
0-16,
also.
Yeah.
Again, like those are like. Again, like it's easiest to look at the 0-17, but if you're 0-17, it means that like players are no longer like paying attention in meetings. Like so many things behind the scenes have to go wrong to not win a single game, and that's where like I think he's safe this year. Realistically, I think that like you win 5 games this year, you win 5 games next year, he's gone. Like I think that would mean
Gone
that
at the end of the season?
probably. I mean, if you start 0-8, then he's gone. You know, you have like the Dolphins game like you did last year as like the 8th game of the season, or maybe even you're 1-7, then he could be. Like it depends on situations, but I think like if you win less than 5 games, he's certainly on the hot seat, which just means that like, hey, if you got to show something this year or it's over. And if you win 5 games, 6 games, the seat is certainly warm, you know, unless you really finish well and things are rolling with Bo Nix. Odds are you're going into next season saying like, hey, you gotta, if things don't go well here, we're making a change.
Yeah, when I said next year, I meant like the end of next year,
Probably,
not like
yeah.
the beginning of next year. I really don't think there's much that could happen to put him in a hot seat, even going into next year. One rookie quarterback, I think they're going to give him at least 2 years with Bo Nix. I think that's a fair evaluation time anything before that would be a disservice to him and Bo.
Yeah.
So I think he's good for this year. Maybe the end of next year, if they just have, like you said, 5 wins and 5 wins again. Okay, then they're gonna have a conversation towards the end of the year. But right now, I have nothing to worry about.
Deshaun buy himself more time, but because I totally agree with you, 2 years for the quarterback and coach duo before you really like move on from either, unless it's like an Arizona Cardinals situation where they
Nathaniel
drafted
Hackett.
Josh Rosen or Nathaniel Hackett. But when it comes to the quarterbacks, they drafted Josh Rosen, the 10th pick in the draft, 11th pick, maybe even the 12th pick. I mean, it was right
Something
around
like
where
that.
Bo Nix was drafted. He was a massive disaster. So the very next year, they have the number 1 overall pick. Get Kyler Murray. Would that scenario actually buy Sean Payton time? Because he would be getting another rookie quarterback and like a top rookie quarterback instead of the 6th rookie quarterback? Or would he now be sitting on 1 year? Bless you.
Yeah, I feel like that would be a situation that would not bode too well. Because it's like, if you look at the entirety of it, it's like, okay, we had Russell Wilson, 26-8, whatever he did, and then we went and got rid of him and paid him all that money to go get the guy that you said was the guy. Now he's not the guy, and you want us to redo it? That's tough. I don't know. I think that would be a very hot seat to be in.
Yeah,
'Cause
three
he'd still be paying
quarterbacks in
Russ.
3 years.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
it's true.
That'd be rough. That's the thing, though. Is, I mean, the odds suggest they're probably going to have like a top 6 or 7 pick, like better than 50-50 chance. They're top 7, I guess.
Don't the odds in Vegas say they're going to have the 3rd best or the 3rd pick?
They would be like the favorite, but
Yeah, so
like
the
odds are you
suggest-
aren't at the extreme, you know. So like 50-50, like the Panthers, or who is bottom right now? Is it the Panthers?
It's the Panthers, Patriots. I think they're both tied at 4.5 wins.
Okay, so let's
and
just
then
say like
Broncos at 5.5.
the Panthers technically would be like the favorite for the number 1
Yeah.
pick, but they'd still have like 7-1 odds to actually get the number 1 pick, you know?
Yeah, but they're still the favorite.
Exactly. But that's why I'm saying like there's probably a 50-50 chance the Broncos have a top 7 pick or so. And
It's not what the odds say, though.
I think it would be.
No. If they're right now supposed to have the 3rd pick in the draft,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be 50-50 that they're top 7.
But there's variance, you know?
Yeah, of course.
Because there's more outcomes on one side than the other, you know? Because like so you're projected 3rd, you could be 2nd or 1st, but you could also be 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. Like there's just more options on this side.
Yeah, I think
There's
Vegas would
a-
say like top or a 50%
Yeah.
chance at least at a top 5 pick.
If I was a statistician, I could explain this so clearly.
Yeah, neither
but
of
I
us are.
hated that class. Yeah. Yeah, but the point is like you're probably getting like a top 7 pick or so would be a good bet. And that's where I think I can't remember the point now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
what did you
Get
say
good
if you were
Yeah.
a what?
If I was a statistician.
I think a statistician,
Statistician.
right?
I have no idea.
Get here, check on this.
They
I don't know
both
what you-
sounded right when you guys individually
Statisticians.
said them. And
think
you know
that's
what?
right?
The Toyota chat statistician.
Let's go.
Did you look it up? Oh. I was like,
I ain't wrong.
yeah, I don't know.
The Toyota
again.
chat is pointing something very interesting out, which should be brought into this conversation specifically about Sean Payton being on the hot seat.
Statistician? Oh.
T-U... Would I hear a
Status-
T-U-H in there?
I heard an H.
Yeah.
There's an H in
Statistician.
statistician.
Check a different website.
Yeah,
said a
there's
H?
no way.
No, that's not the spelling, that's pronunciation.
Oh, that's a
okay,
pronunciation.
okay.
Okay, that makes sense.
Oh.
There we go.
Well,
Okay.
really quick, I'm trying to give the Toyota chat some credit here for bringing up a good point, but statisticians are getting in the way here.
Statisticians.
But the Toyota chat is pointing out that Sean Payton, whether it was by design or not, has surrounded himself with a lot of potential scapegoats for this season, and scapegoats kind of help save your own job and kind of put the blame on someone else and make it so that if your seat's getting hot, you point to someone else and then your seat doesn't get as hot because you fire that person. And
Yeah.
there's people in the front office. I mean, especially bringing David Shaw in, that's like a strong person to have. If you were to move on from someone in the front office, we know Sean's brought people over from the front office from New Orleans. And then, of course, you also have a really strong, maybe potential defensive coordinator in the secondary if you did move on from Vance. Now, obviously, you don't want to move on from any of those guys because it means that things are going wrong. But it is a really good point that there are some people that Sean can point to and be like, no, Greg Walton or Greg Penner, it wasn't me, it was him, to kind of maybe help. And who knows if this was intentional or not, but I think regardless if it was intentional by Sean or not, there still are many different guys in the organization that he can point to kind of put blame somewhere else before it's on him.
It's going to be tough if Bo Nix is bad. It's like, oh, no, this whole time, George was saying Bo's the guy.
Is it really, though? Because he was the 6th quarterback taken.
But you took him. We all know that Sean took him, you know?
Sure, yeah.
Like Sean can't turn around and be like, oh, what'd you expect? I mean, we got him with the 12th pick.
Absolutely, I think he could if he wants to save his job, because they didn't trade any future draft capital away. I think that's an issue. If they would have traded future draft capital, like a future first-round pick, Sean could say, like, okay, now I'm going to take another swing with the 3rd quarterback in the draft.
But, like, then when everybody says you were crazy to make a pick, you don't get to turn around and be like, I don't know, guys, like that is directly on Sean Payton if Bo Nix doesn't work out. Like, he went out of his way
For sure.
when nobody said he should go get that guy.
For sure.
Yeah. And I don't know. I don't think he's hiring scapegoats. I think these guys are too high profile to be scapegoats.
We have him off.
Like you said, you think he's hiring? These wouldn't be the scapegoats. These would be the replacements for who he would call the scapegoats. Is that what you're saying?
Wait, say that again?
I'm saying the guys that were just hired, I don't think he hired scapegoats, but you're saying that these guys would be the replacements for the scapegoats that are currently on the roster.
Yep.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Well, that there are a lot of different places that he could turn to to replace guys that he would move on from if things don't go well.
Yeah. Well, everybody has a job. You know, he can't do everything. I think, like Hank said, it would be tough to blame anybody else for Bo Nix not being nice or the offensive scheme not being on point. But you talk about, receivers not running the right route sometimes or not understanding, the offense. Or you talk about the defense and their lack of production or cornerback specifically. You definitely could point fingers there. But I think when it comes to Bo Nix and it comes to that offense, as a whole, I think he's the only man that you can kind of turn to in that regard.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
And because, like, if the owners go to him and say, like, hey, we need to do better, he can say, like, hey, look, Bo Nix was good, so we're set there. So as long as Bo Nix looks fine, then he's in good shape.
I totally agree.
But if Bo Nix is bad, I don't think he can. That's on him.
Bo Nix being bad, I don't think Bo Nix being bad puts him on the hot seat just because of that. Because remember, this is his 2nd quarterback, but it's really Sean's 1st quarterback. He inherited Russell Wilson. And if you give a coach 5 years, nearly $100 million deal, you're probably going to give them 2 swings at the quarterback position if you believe in them and you give them all the power that they have given to Sean. So I don't think Bo Nix being bad, and I don't necessarily think that's what's going to happen. We're going to talk about that in just a second. I don't think that is doom for Sean Payton. Certainly not good news for Sean Payton. But I still think there's other ways that Sean can point the finger to help his job. And one of those people that's going to help Sean in his job is Baron Browning. And if you want to invest in Baron Browning's future, you can do that over with our friends over at Vestibule, where they are about redefining fandom, meaning you can actually invest in the people that you believe in as players. And Baron Browning is the first player that Vestibule has signed up, and it's really cool specifically for our show how they are with the Broncos and Baron Browning, and you can invest in Baron Browning's career. The Broncos and Baron Browning, he's on the last year of his deal, and outside linebackers can get paid a ton of money in the NFL. So if you want a future stake of his future earnings, you can get in and buy his IPO, which is live right now, but you have to have the Vestibule app. Scan the QR code on the screen to download the app, or go to the App Store and download the Vestibule app. It's VESTIBLE to get in on Baron Browning's IPO. It's available right now, but shares are limited. So if you want to get in on this, go download the app and buy his shares now over at Vestibule.
And shout out to Coors Light. You guys know we love Coors and we keep it right here on set. It's always the perfect beer to go for when you're trying to chill. Between work, social media, and the choices life throws your way, it is no wonder we're more worked up. Coors Light celebrates rising above and choosing a chill mindset. Why not turn to rained out barbecue, which is very, very common in Colorado? I thought we would be done with the rain. It's freaking almost July and it's still raining out of nowhere. But you could turn that into a karaoke house party, or after a tough loss. What's the guy's name for the Oilers? We'll get him one of some Coors Light.
Connor McDavid.
Yeah, after a tough
Yeah.
loss, probably should have had some Coors Light. You can settle scores with an ice cold peace offering. Make the choice to choose chill, then reach for a Coors Light. It's a mountain cold refreshment. Coors Light's the best, man. It's definitely the beer I go to turn to when I need to chill. So remember to celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. You can get it from Instacart to your door if you go to CoorsLight.com/DNVR.
You're here. You've got something for us. What is it?
Is it that Poland has a penalty?
It's not Poland has a penalty. It's
no.
Zach, hide your mom's Wilson,
Oh, boy.
displaying that smile, that hair in the new Broncos orange. You a big fan of Zach, you here?
Love that. My mom does too. Don't worry.
There we
Oh.
go.
Oh, shoot.
Wow, you just said that, not me.
Off mic, baby. She'll never know.
Oh, wow. You hear,
Oh.
you got to be on mic when you talk.
Not that one.
Speaking of Broncos quarterbacks, let's talk. Let's put our money where our mouth where our money where our mouth is.
Yep.
And let's make our official predictions for how good we think these quarterbacks are going to be. Last year's quarterbacks, this year's quarterbacks, so that we can look back in this in 2 years and be like, let's see how this is going. And then we can really look back at this in 5 years and be like, yeah, Zach, of course, was 9 for 9 on these quarterbacks. Henry, 0 for 9. Todd, 1 for 8. I guess I'm really a quarterback guru here.
Don't worry, Poland missed the penalty.
Oh, good.
I
I was wondering about
I almost they almost tied, which would have been so fun because they always tie in soccer. Yeah, this will be a fun little game. I wish I could read those names, but I guess I know what they are.
And you're just gonna have to trust me with
Or
what
borrow
you're
your
saying.
glasses.
Okay, so here's how we're gonna do this. We're taking a look at every first round court. See, I even put my glasses up when I look far, actually.
Oh,
So yeah.
Weird. Well, can I borrow them then if you're
No,
not
because
using
they
them?
don't actually zoom in.
Oh.
So
Then what's the point?
it's a blue light glass because we
Oh.
have 4 really bright lights that
None
we
of them
stare
are
at
blue.
for an hour. It takes the blue out of them to make them yellow
They look
to help
pretty
with
yellow.
migraines. No, they're not. I can tell you they're not. Stare at one of them for
I
like 10
have
seconds.
I have been actually
Exactly.
because of
There
this
you go.
conversation. But that's just don't look at.
Okay, so here's how we're doing this. We're going to look at every first-round quarterback drafted in 2023 and 2024.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to say in 5 years whether we think they're going to be a superstar, whether we think they're going to be good, whether we think they're going to be bad.
Okay.
So before we do this, I think we need to kind of put parameters on what we say superstar is and what good is and what bad is. Are we saying superstar is a top 10 quarterback, good is from like 11 to 20, and bad is 20 to backup? Or are we saying bad is you're a backup / not in the league anymore, good is you're just a starting quarterback, and superstar you're top 3? Like how are we doing this?
Josh Allen, superstar.
Yes.
Dak Prescott.
Ugh.
He's a superstar.
Yeah, I think he's right on the fringe.
Superstar.
I think that's like a lean one way or the other.
So are we doing top 10? We're calling superstar?
I feel like it's a vibes thing. Derek Carr,
No, good.
good. I think
Yeah.
good. Geno Smith,
Good.
good,
Not
but
good.
he's pushing it.
Good.
Gardner Minshew,
Good.
good. Okay. Justin
yeah,
Fields,
I don't
bad.
I think you're too quick to
So
say.
superstar is probably like top 10.
There's maybe like 5 of them. Cause like
No, there's more than that.
If we're saying Dak is a superstar, he is not
Okay.
top 5. Because
You don't think so?
Let's
What do
go,
you
Let's go
mean?
through really quick.
What
he's
do you
definitely top
mean?
5.
You think Dak is a top 5 quarterback?
Absolutely.
In
If
the
you
NFL
take
right
out the playoffs, you just can't play him in the last 4 games of the season.
now? So
in the
I mean,
Is
I think
You
that's
lost me
kinda,
there, Tom.
that's kind of what we're talking about. We're talking about these games.
I think
But I mean, he's been in the MVP conversation
Sure.
multiple
he
years
was a
in a row.
finalist last
Yeah,
year.
That's what I'm
Also-
saying. That's a superstar. Or you know what I'm saying?
I think he's.
I think if you're in the MVP conversation, I think we got to consider you a superstar.
It's just hard when then you say take out the playoffs.
I
That's
think-
where superstars
also
become
generally
superstars.
his numbers in the playoffs not so bad.
definitely understand that. I definitely understand that. But I think he's so far away from Gardner Minshew and
Yes.
other
Derek
quarterbacks
Carr?
like
Yeah.
that we can't call him good.
How about
That's why I'm wondering if like Derek Carr was good and like overall he's had a good career, but right now like if we have to put him in the superstar, good or bad,
he's not.
I guess maybe
He's good.
bottom of the good.
Yeah, he's in
bottom
the
of the
good.
good.
Okay, Jared Goff though. Good.
No, superstar in
You-
terms of like where he is right. If
Do you have him in front of Dak though?
No.
that's what I'm saying, like top 10. He's top 10. Is
He
that
is.
superstar?
See,
in
I'd
terms
say
of this?
superstar is more like the top 5.
But then how far does good go then?
I think it looks pretty deep to me because I think Derek Carr is in there.
We should do superstar.
Jalen Hurts.
Really
Where's
good,
Jalen Hurts?
Good, bad.
Where's-
Jalen Hurts
Yeah.
for me.
Superstar.
I think he's high and good.
Wasn't
Yes,
I think he's good.
high on
wasn't
good.
he a finalist for the MVP 2 years ago?
Yeah.
I think he's
offense.
good.
And then he started 11-1 last year, and you bumped him down for a superstar to good. I'd rather have
I think
Jalen
he's
Hurts than
good.
Dak Prescott.
Too
I don't think
limited.
so.
Too limited.
I think Jalen. I think.
What's he limited in?
I think Dak Prescott has
RPO
better
guy.
numbers.
I think when it comes to like
Look at
reading
his
downfield.
passing.
Yeah, well,
How is
this
that
is the Bo Nix
limited?
conversation. But yeah, I think when you look at what he does versus what Dak does way more down the field. Like I think maybe that's even where kind of my dividing line is. What about Stafford? I say good.
I would say good.
It's really hard to break these into.
But
three
Yeah, I
Did he
tiers.
think
win
it's
a-
just
did he win a
opinion
Super
based.
Bowl?
That's
Yeah.
the whole thing anyway.
I think if you want to flip those in your mind, then we're about on the same page. Or like
I think we just need to let's do like top third, middle third, bottom third, benched. Because then there's no nuance there. Do you think he's a top? Or we can do
have him written in there too.
yeah.
Let me know. I got
So-
the three that you gave me.
So Dak Prescott has been hurt a couple seasons, right?
Yep.
But when he's in the game, a full year, he's had 4,500 yards, 4,400 yards, and 4,900 yards.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts hasn't had one season over 4,000 yards. They're not in the same category.
well then
Yeah.
let's include rushing because that's part of the game.
It is part of the game.
It's a
but
less-
I don't feel like
He had like 16 rushing touchdowns last year.
on the tush push.
So
Come
those don't
on,
count.
guys.
Those
No,
don't count.
no, absolutely not. If
about?
Damian Tomlinson had broke the record doing the tush push we're not counting that.
What if it's-
how many rushing touchdowns did Tomlinson have from the 2-yard line in? Probably
He had
like
a few.
10 or something.
could have had a lot with the tush push.
But he was really making
No,
those
because
happen.
he did have that, just not with the
Cam
tush
Newton
push,
is is a quarterback that really makes touchdowns with his legs. The tush push
Yeah.
is not a touchdown.
The tush, that's like
It
that,
is a
it's
touch-
just
when it
impressive
goes
for
for
the
a
center.
you can
touchdown,
give that
the
to
center does
anybody.
it.
Behind Jason Kelsey, you can give that to anybody.
But that's not true because we saw it last year. The tush push was
With who?
not
With who?
effective.
I'm saying behind Jason Kelsey in that offense.
Well, we don't know that.
You
though.
can give that to
We
anybody.
don't know. We don't know that. We're
You can
talking
give that to
about, We're talking
anybody.
about Jalen Hurts who benched. We're talking about Jalen Hurts who squatted.
I don't know. That does not
700
count.
pounds. He's
That does not
different.
count. That
He's
does
a
not count.
different beast.
So
You're
I
not going
think
to give
we'll-
me 1 yard. You're not going to tell me that he's a superstar because he can do 1 yard pushes.
And also throw for 3,800 yards.
Not
throw for
45.
3,700 yards.
Absolutely, those are
The
great.
year before.
They're not 45.
Or 49.
Or they're certainly not 49.
What are Dak's total touchdowns?
36. He was hurt 23. 37.
Wait. Let's go 20. Let's go 21, 22, and 23. How many
Okay, so-
touchdowns did he have in 2021?
He's blowing this guy out the water. Pause. 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Then he was hurt. 23 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. Then he was healthy. 36 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. He's a way better
Yes.
quarterback. Jalen Hurts has had 23 touchdowns and 15 interceptions last year. It's not even in the same category.
No. He had, how many did Dak have?
36 and 9.
Okay. Jalen had 38 touchdowns.
We're not counting the tush
We
pushes.
have to count.
No, you
It's
can't.
No.
No.
Does it count the same
Todd's about to
number
get up
of-
and walk out.
Does it count the same number of points as a passing touchdown?
But what did you do? Is the thing.
That does not
It's not
count.
as impressive
the
as
ball in
No.
the end zone.
No.
You did, but,
finished
like,
a drive
No.
in
effort
the
that
end
it
zone.
took wasn't the same.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Justin Herbert, superstar, good. I say good.
Before last year, he was a superstar.
Okay, got downgraded.
I mean, borderline. Is he? Again, how are we saying superstar or not? If we're going top 10,
I
he's a
think-
top
Let's just
10
say really
quarterback.
good. Well, we want to do superstar, really good,
We have
good, and
we
bad.
have it built with
let's-
superstar, good, and bad.
I
We
think
have
we
like the
just-
three
They're
built.
really in front of him. That's easy.
I think we need.
You can't really
I
good?
think we need to change it though, because I think we need to have it so it's like clear cut.
I think we're basically
Or
on the same
else
page,
in
though.
5 years,
I think we're
gonna,
basically on the same
well,
page.
then let's make it so we are on the same page. Let's do top 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 32. It's so like top third, middle third, bottom third, benched. I think we all understand what that is.
Cool.
Okay.
I don't know if I remember all that, but I understand it.
Yeah.
So no superstar?
No superstar. I guess that's top 10.
That's crazy. We're counting the tush pushes like real work.
It's a touchdown, Todd.
Okay. Here's a question though. Here's a question. You saw he had. Let's just say he had like 15 tush push touchdowns.
Well, he didn't because he had 15 rushing touchdowns, and I can guarantee you that not all of them were tush pushes.
But like if he had 15 push touchdowns,
But he didn't,
Let's play
again.
a game. No. But that's not the point. The point is, if you replace him with Zach, how many of those does Zach get in?
0.
Zach who?
Me.
This Zach.
0. Because I don't squat 700 pounds.
But he didn't need that
Listen.
for all of them. That helped on some. That
Listen.
helped on some.
I understand he can squat a lot, but if you watch the film on the tush push, he is following right behind Jason Kelsey. He's not even jumping over the top to get in it. Like he's literally following the hole that's being made.
He's a
It's a
he's a
QB
tactician,
sneak.
Todd.
It's a QB sneak. That's not a great play to me.
Well-
Q, you know what a QB sneak is equivalent to? A kneel, a QB kneel.
No.
Yes, same thing.
Tom
Same
Brady
thing.
was like 97% effective on QB sneaks.
Why? Oh, so Tom Brady squatted 700 pounds?
No.
I bet that's exactly right. I bet you Tom Brady can get you 1 yard.
Because,
I know it.
Because
I told you.
because
Tom squatted 7 pounds in college. There's no.
because
and
it
he
was a
good
credit. It was credit to Tom. He had mastered that, just like Jalen Hurts. Very different ways. But you look, and Tom had like way more success
I'm not
than
saying
the other quarterbacks.
He
doing the
did a
quarterback
great job.
sneak.
They did a great job finding a great play. But do I count that as him being a great quarterback or not? No.
Could you have done every one of those tush
Absolutely.
pushes? I kind of
Absolutely.
right there.
I don't know. We didn't see any other person do
Let's
that
line
in
up
the
right now and
NFL
see if we
last
can
year.
do a tush push.
Todd, if we're doing tush pushes among DNVR people, I'm giving you 100% success rate.
No, it didn't. It didn't happen. It happened outside of the Eagles, but not as often because it wasn't anybody else's play.
It's the line. It's Jason Kelsey and it's Landon Dickerson, and you just and all of a sudden you're 3 yards forward. Like I don't think you score like for example 15 touchdowns, but I think you get at least like 5 of those in.
No,
I think you get at least 5 as long as you don't get too scared. Like if you commit to it, you get at least 5.
Here's what it boils down to. I think Jalen Hurts is a top 10 quarterback. Do you guys agree or
I
not?
think he's a good quarterback.
Top 10?
He'd be
I
close.
think just numbers and passing, it's close.
He's more scheme fit though.
So then
But this
what
is
you're
better.
saying is you can't count any of Lamar Jackson's rushing if you don't want to count Jalen Hurts' rushing.
It's a whole different style of rushing.
No,
that is
no.
very different. Come on, Zach. You gotta
What
you
you're
gotta
saying-
know.
No, but see,
you
here's
have
the
to know that's different. You have to know that's different.
Here's the thing. Do you think Jalen Hurts got 784 rushing yards off tush pushes 3 years ago? Do you think he got 760 rushing yards off tush pushes 2 years ago? Do you think he got 605 rushing yards
No.
off tush pushes last year? No way. He is a runner too.
Yes.
This is my point. He is not just Mr. Tush Push. 784 rushing yards 3 years ago, 760 rushing yards 2 years ago, over 600 rushing yards last year. That is not just Tush Push.
No.
He ran for you said Tush Pushes are 1 yard. He ran for 5.6 yards per carry 3 years ago, 4.6 yards per carry last year, 3.9 yards per carry last year. 2 years ago,
Also,
it's 4.9.
That's
As of
awesome.
this-
Awesome. I think
Exactly,
he's
more
a
than
good,
just Tush Push.
As of December
I think he's a
19th,
good quarterback.
28% of Jalen Hurts' fantasy points came from the tush push.
Almost a third of what he did.
Because
just-
those are touchdowns.
That was a
of
great
course. Those are-
statistician bring up right there, my guy. He's a good quarterback. We're not saying he's not good, but is he a superstar? No, I don't think he's a superstar.
But again, we're changing what we're talking. We're talking about
That
top
is
10.
true.
oh
but
no,
I
I think he's borderline top 10.
I think it's good to. This is a
Borderline.
good discussion though. Like, what counts as a superstar? And like we've definitely found the line. We agree on everything
I don't
but one that
think
we flip.
I don't think we have found the line.
I mean, there's one we disagree on, right? We're on the same page.
Justin Herbert.
Oh, you have him superstar?
I don't know. It's
Trevor Lawrence definitely not.
Joe Burrow, he 100% is
Yep.
in my mind.
He's a superstar.
Yes.
After all the shit he says about Joe Burrow, now he's
He does
just
talk a
giving
lot
them
about
that he's
him.
a
He
shit
does talk a lot
superstar
about
right
I
now.
mean, Dak is in.
If Dak's in, Jalen's in.
But see, that's the one we disagree on, is just the order of those two.
guys.
We have
Okay, so
everything
let's
else on
do
the same
this.
page.
Let's do this. We got
This is
1
more
minute.
fun.
This is funner,
a
I feel
person.
like,
Also-
to me.
to talk about.
This is way better, yeah. Also, somebody saying Lamar is not a superstar. I would disagree there.
Well, that's
That
not a
one's
hot
crazy.
take. He's a 2-time MVP.
That's
of
a
course,
crazy
Lamar
one.
Jackson
That's a
is
crazy
a
one.
superstar.
Yeah.
Unless you go by Todd and you only count his passing, then maybe we get in a conversation about if he's a superstar or not.
No, I
You would
think,
have
I think
scored
for
touchdowns
Lamar,
on tush push.
yeah, I think for Lamar we count. I think for even Jalen, you count both. But I'm not saying that. I'm not giving him 38
Yeah,
touchdowns.
no.
Like he just was out there running crazy last year.
He wasn't running crazy.
And even on the tush, like the tush push stuff, like it works for the team, but that's not a superstar play.
Exactly, because Dak could do that exact same thing.
Yes.
There maybe
No, he
if
couldn't.
there's like like if there's 15 tush push touchdowns, maybe Dak only gets like 13 of them, but it's pretty much the same.
Okay, so in the past 3 seasons, Lamar Jackson has 2,352 rushing yards. In the past 3 seasons, Jalen Hurts has 2,149 rushing yards. A 200 total yard difference, and you guys are giving Lamar Jackson credit for being a runner and Jalen Hurts not credit for being a runner.
No,
I
I'm
think
not.
that's
No,
crazy.
I'm not.
no,
No,
even
no, no,
looking
no,
at
no.
touchdowns anymore. 'cause
No,
you guys
that's
are cutting
okay.
off
We're
Okay,
talking
there
about
we go.
touchdowns. We're talking. I'm just talking about the 16
we're
touchdowns.
talking touchdowns.
I'm saying quarterback for quarterback, those 16 touchdowns don't move the needle for me as far as him being a top 10 or not. Do I think he's better than Lamar? No. And so between him and Lamar, I think there's a handful of quarterbacks that primarily pass the ball that are better quarterbacks,
Yeah.
even though they're primarily passers and not runners and passers.
Yep.
So you know how many rushing touchdowns Jalen Hurts has had the past 3 years?
How
No.
many tush pushes has he done?
I don't know
Tell
about
us.
tush pushes. 38. You know how many Lamar Jackson's had?
Rushing.
Yeah,
Tell
Rushing.
me.
Less.
10. 10!
I feel you. He's not doing the tush
He's not
push.
getting pushed.
But what I'm saying is you can take 28 tush push touchdowns away, and Jalen Hurts would still have the same number of rushing touchdowns that
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson did. I think you guys are discounting Jalen Hurts' rushing ability.
I'm not. I'm
if
not.
you're giving credit to Lamar for being a rusher, you're not giving Jalen Hurts credit for that.
I think
he's a good rusher.
Is he the second best running quarterback in the NFL?
I think he's a good
I
rusher.
think he's probably number 2.
You have not given him credit for it.
No, we give him credit.
No, you said it's a tush push. Anyone can do it.
The
well, for
touchdowns.
the tush push,
The
yeah.
touchdown- the
tush
touchdowns
push
for
is
sure.
a different conversation. He's a good runner.
Yes.
He's a good runner. The touchdown stats are definitely inflated by the tush push. Though.
Absolutely.
I don't think that's a crazy
Absolutely.
take.
But
And
I'm
what he
saying
does as a runner
it's not
doesn't.
like they're inflated by just he still has 4
Oh, yeah,
times
definitely.
the number that Lamar
Definitely.
Jackson has.
And I still don't think that closes the gap with Dak.
And he's doing 4 times the tush
You're
pushes
crazy.
too.
You are crazy.
I
Also
think
think-
I think Dak's a better quarterback too.
I think Dak's a better quarterback. Wait, then Lamar?
No.
Okay, good. Okay. Yeah, same page there.
Give me Jalen Hurts.
So we agree on literally everything except you have Jalen Hurts in front of Dak.
Sure. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
take that.
I feel like we stick with superstar. Superstar,
no, because
good,
that,
bad.
now it's just
It's
makes
like, are
sense
you a
to
super? Are you top 5, top 6? Are you like that guy?
No, because you even just said top 5, top 6. There's no line for it.
But
wanna
the line
look,
is you
we
know
wanna
when
be
you
able
see
to
it.
look back in 5 years and be
Okay.
like, is he top 5, top
Okay.
10? So let's do
But
this.
then we're going to disagree
Should
on
we
who's in
start
the top
with
10 and
last
who's.
year
Oh no, he's 12.
or this year's class.
Last year's class.
Okay, last year's class, number 1 overall pick, Bryce Young, in 5 years from now. So really only 4 more years. 5 years. So he'll be on a second contract now. Bryce Young, top 10,
No.
middle third,
No.
bottom third,
Bottom third.
or backup.
I think it'll be a bottom third. I don't think it'll be a backup.
Oof, man, that is tough for a former number 1 overall pick. Henry?
He could probably be a backup. He wouldn't be out of the league. He's bad. He's bottom third.
Wow.
There's definitely no like juice there. He's just Gardner Minshew-y, you know.
Oh, I'm going so close to what Henry would call a superstar. That top 10, but I'll go middle third. He's
Really?
going to be a good quarterback. Yep. He's going to bounce back. He had no help last year. I'm going middle third. So 10 to 20 or however you want to put it. You hear? All right, number 2 pick, CJ Stroud.
Oh, top 10.
Yep. Totally agree. I mean, he's already
almost
there right now,
yeah.
probably, right?
Yep.
And you have to imagine he's only going to get better. Henry, do you
Yeah.
agree?
Yep.
And then the final first-round pick from last year, which is crazy, the 4th overall pick in the draft, was the 3rd quarterback taken in the draft last year, and he was the last quarterback taken in the first round, which is kind of nuts with how this year went. Anthony Richardson.
I think he's going to be pretty good, so I'm going to say middle third.
I think he's going to be top 10. I mean, there's like 15 top 10 quarterbacks at any given time, so I like his chances.
But that should be only 10 top 10 quarterbacks.
Yeah,
But then, like, you have
can't
all
say
the
that.
debate at
No,
the
you
edges.
can't- No,
Yeah,
you
you
can't
do.
say that.
No, you gotta
He's
make a-
either
you gotta
top
make a
10
line.
If you think he's 15,
He's top 10. He's top 10.
15.
He's top 10.
Okay, he's top 10.
You might think he's
I think he
15.
has the talent to be top 10. I'm really concerned about him staying healthy. And credit to Jalen Hurts for staying healthy with the way he plays. Anthony Richardson, he got hurt so much last year, so I think when he plays, he's going to be really good. But I think we're going to be looking at him as a good quarterback, a middle third quarterback there. All right, let's move to this year's draft class. And let's do Bo Nix last. So let's start with Caleb Williams. Everyone thought he was a superstar for the past 2 years. Is he going to end up being that?
Yep.
Well, you go first. You say yes?
Yep.
Okay, top 10. I'm worried
middle
about
third.
Caleb.
Middle third.
I agree with Todd. I'm going middle third. I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to end up being a disappointment for all of the hype, but still be a good starting quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
And maybe this year and next year he's going to jump out and look like a superstar, but then once they have to pay him and he doesn't have 3 unbelievable receivers around him, plus a really good tight end, plus a good defense, I think we're going to kind of see him be disappointing for his draft pick, but still be a 15, 20-year starter.
But, like, I don't know. I think his floor is like Kyler Murray, you know? And that's where, like, Kyler Murray's probably top 10, right?
No.
Like, I mean,
no.
he's like 12, 13 at worst, right?
No,
Not right now.
no.
Not right now.
No way.
You don't
I would
think
say
so?
he's bottom third right now.
Bottom third?
Yeah, he's
Okay,
not
but what about
top
like
10
Derek
guy.
Carr, Kyler
Okay,
Murray?
we got to move on
Okay.
to Jayden Daniels. I'm going top 10. Jayden Daniels. Maybe going to be the best quarterback in this draft.
Yeah, I think he's going to be pretty good too. So the middle third is anybody outside of the top 10. So
Yeah.
I'm going
You
to
can still be
say
good. Yeah.
Middle third.
Okay. So you think he's good, but not elite.
Middle third.
Middle third. Okay. You
So
guys
Trevor
like
Lawrence
him,
is
but
not
don't
better
love
than
him.
Kyler Murray.
Drake Maye. I'm going. I'm either going backup or bottom third. I'm gonna go. In 5 years from now, Drake Maye is a backup.
I say it'll be a middle third.
He
Middle
won't be a
third, okay.
backup.
Oh,
I
no,
don't
no, no,
think
no, no.
anybody
Lower
wants him as
third.
a
Lower
backup.
third for me.
He's one who's either like out of the league or he's top 10.
Well,
to me.
which one are you going? Put your money where your mouth is.
Oh, just go top 10. Feels like the safer
Oh
bet.
my gosh, you dogged on Drake Maye
Yeah.
for 8 months
Yeah.
leading up to the draft, and now you say he's gonna be a top 10 quarterback. Holy cow!
It's one or the other.
Okay, Michael
It's a
Penix
coin toss.
Jr. Todd,
Top 10. Without
do you just
a
want to
doubt.
say like number 1 quarterback in the NFL?
Number one stuff. That spot might be not up for grabs for a little while, but he'll be top 10 for
Okay,
sure.
top 10, Henry.
I'll go middle third.
I'll go. Either going. I'm gonna go bottom third.
Whoa, you're great.
2 more to hit in a minute. We got J.J. McCarthy. I'm gonna go middle third.
Bottom third.
Middle third.
Middle third. And now Bo Nix. Todd, the one that matters the most. Where's Bo gonna be
In 5 years,
in 5 years?
top 10.
Top 10. I love it. Henry?
Middle third.
Middle third. I'm going back up. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going back up. I'm gonna go top 10. I think because we expanded superstar all the way to top 10. I think Bo Nix. I mean, we had the conversation on our mailbag yesterday about what Sean Payton can do for Bo Nix
Yeah.
and what he's done for every other quarterback that he's worked with, not just Drew Brees, but the Jameis Winston. However we wanted to phrase it, Henry wanted to say that he maximized them, and so whatever word you want to use, I think Sean's going to do that, and Bo Nix is going to be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. And so I don't think the conversation we had earlier about do you have to worry about if Bo's not the guy? No, you don't have to worry about it. Bo's going to be the guy. This has been a blast. Todd. I love going back and forth with both of you. Thank you guys so much for rocking and rolling with me today. If I'm not on the show tomorrow, it means Todd has cut me from the show, so hopefully I'm back tomorrow. Maybe I won't be, though. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow on the DNVR Broncos podcast.
Hopefully, they don't have Bo Nix doing tush pushes.
We all silly like the mayor.